Okay, so I got something to say that's rather kind of desperate to be heard, which I probably don't think it'll be heard on time, but maybe one day these videos be heard and watched by somebody who can do something about it. Also, it might just be proof that I said something. Uh, well, here's what I'm on about. Uh, this 2020 election is nothing new to anybody who's been paying attention for like the last 10 years, at least the last 10 years. Okay, so that being said, there's a problematic thing that I'm going to address, which is the dead people voting. Okay, so the deal is pretty terrible for America as a country because I'm saying this. You're talking about international relations. Uh, doesn't matter who's in office. It does to a point, but let's get to the meat and potatoes of what I'm saying. Other countries that practice other religions that are sacred to these people that have other views that we want to have trade with, that we want to have good relations and look good and have be proper with, cordial, proper. They're never going to look at us the same ever again. Uh, with the Democrats' side of the pollings or the Democrat side of America has really showed our hind end. They've really disgusted a lot of countries against us. Not just saying the Democrats, because back a while ago, God said that He was mad at both sides of the aisle, both Democrats and Republicans. He's not happy with short of anybody here. But let's get on with this. Countries like India, countries like say Israel, countries like oh man, other smaller countries, Thailand, other countries like maybe Japan or other countries in Africa and other countries in around the world. I'm not going to name them all. They're not all coming to my head, but just name a few. Vietnam, Korea, do serious trade and business with. They have other religions too that need respected because I mean we're a country that's supposedly supposed to respect everybody else like we want respected. That's the golden rule, you know. Uh, but that respect is not no longer mutual because we look like a bunch of savage barbarian heathens, not who we say we are, because we rise up the dead with magical nonsense and give them the vote. We disturb the dead so that they can vote. Man, we're probably no better looking than Madagascar or whoever they are. Every 5 to 10 years, goes and digs up their dead and has that ritual dance. Man, we're making ourselves look like fools around the world. We expose the corruption, but you gotta remember this from history, okay? Just because you don't understand a procedure that somebody else does or goes through does not mean that somebody else is going to perceive that differently than what you do. Let, let's just take one of the uh, the Greek stories with the Persians. Okay, the earth and water story, where the Athenians went faced off against the Spartans, and the Greeks asked the Persians for help, and the Persians said, "Oh, you got to offer us uh, earth and water," and that was a submission to the from the Persians' perspective. It was the Athenians bowing down and saying, "Hey, look, we are under you. You're our masters now." The Greeks didn't see that. The Greeks didn't understand what the Persians were talking about or what they wanted, or what their ceremony meant. When they in history, when they beat the Spartans, they said, "Well, we don't need you and no more." And guess what happened? A full invasion and march on Greece from uh, the Persian kingdom. It's like, what happened? A total and full misunderstanding because they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were signing. They didn't know what they were getting into. They didn't understand, and that's foolishness. Hindsight is that's foolishness. That's a mistake. Now that's a mistake. We exposed American true-hearted patriots exposed to the world that they've been frauded, that they've been fooled, that they've been asleep, and they thought that their government was gonna just take over and do a good job while the people took a nap after the wars. Well, obviously not. The people exposed the fraudulent crap that the government has been slowly murdering, poisoning, and doing foul, illegal stuff that shouldn't be had. And now, guess what? We, the people, the patriots, the men and women of the country who've had the best interests of the country at heart, are now showing that what's going on, like election fraud and the dead voting, playing around with witchcraft and nonsense, and other countries' influence, you know, it only degrades America as a whole in front of the rest of the world. A lot of people are not looking at the world spectrum. They're not looking at the bigger picture. They're only seeing a small piece of the puzzle to the bigger picture. And I am one of the few people, I guess, that see this immediately. And, just like hindsight with the Greeks, it's like, okay, we did a good job. We did the best we could to preserve ourselves, but now look at what we did. We made a big mess, and it's going to take an industrial sized vacuum to clean up this mess. And it's not going to take no broom or dusting feather. And, geez, it's going to take something huge to clean this up. And it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be no hush hush deal. I don't want to prophesy. I don't want to say it, but I would not be surprised from logical side of views if other countries just didn't want anything to do with Americans or America or anything to do with anything from here. News has got out, word has got out that Americans let their dead vote. Who in their right mind does that? How can a country that says they are under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, rising up their dead to vote? Who plays with the dead? Let the dead rest. No, you people, we've bit off more than what you can chew. There's something bigger afoot that's going to happen. There's something I don't even know what to say yet. I'm not meditated on this yet. I've not really spent too much time, but it came to me just in whack, just whack, like just be prepared. I mean, you can't keep playing with stuff and not knowing what you're doing. You can't keep on. I don't know. Playing with some dangerous toys, some dangerous things, shouting about dead people voted. I mean, yeah, I mean, great. We caught the fraud here now, but look what the rest of the world sees. Look at how the rest of the world and other countries are going to see this. It's humiliation. This is an embarrassment. I just need people to know this. This is an embarrassment.